Underneath the hood of the Telluride, there's still only a single engine choice that's available, and that's this, the 3.8 liter naturally aspirated V6. Pushes out 291 horsepower and 262 pound-feet of torque. So it does have pretty good power, and it's naturally aspirated, which means that you don't have to worry about a turbo, which is one less thing that could potentially break. And I'm gonna use the hand shifter here. Let's do it. Well, 50 road, but that's nice and responsive. But you do get really good performance inside of this vehicle. I like the way that Kia's done it under the hood here. You've got a nice looking engine cover sitting right in the very middle. And then if you're doing some work yourself, you can easily top up your fluid, so check change oil. And you can also top up your wiper fluid as necessary. Looking at the warranty inside of the Kia world, it's unchanged year over year. So in Canada, basic and powertrain are 5-year, 100,000 kilometers. For the States, your basic warranty is 5 years, with the powertrain getting bumped up to a 10-year, 100,000 mile. In Canada, you can, well, and even in the States, you can increase your warranty at time of purchase if you want a little bit of extra peace of mind, but just do yourself a favor. Regularly scheduled oil changes, regular maintenance to get the best possible life out of your ride. I have seen Kias get over 250,000 kilometers, but it's based off of taking care of it. Could you run into problems every now and again? Sure. But if you look at the number of vehicles that Kia sold compared to the number of owner complaints, it's actually not bad. But again, it hinges on you taking care of this ride, and it will take care of you. I think the front end style of the Telluride is nice. I love the way that Kia redesigned their badge. That galvanized metallic look is incredibly sharp. And there are a series of different grille styles that you're going to find depending on which trim level of the vehicle that you're in. But regardless of the trim, you're going to find LED headlamps inside of the ride. Then there's the option for fog lamps down low. And then some trim levels of the vehicle are also going to have a forward park sensing system along with a front-facing camera. So there is a full 360 cam inside of the Telluride. And there's just something about it. I love the way that Kia does their 360 cam. The ability to grab the vehicle and then swipe around, I think it looks so cool. Looking at the drivetrain inside of the Telluride, in the US, it's going to be front-wheel drive standard with the option of upgrading to an all-wheel drive system. Up in Canada, all-wheel drive is our only option, which I don't necessarily think is a bad thing. All-wheel drive, way better handling in the wintertime compared to front-wheel. But either way, good set of winter tires and you're laughing. You're going to find either 18 or 20-inch wheels inside of the ride with differing styles. When you go for those off-road specific models, there is one that's going to be an 18-inch wheel, but it's got all-terrain tires on it. So if your plan is to go off-road, it's got an increased road height, so that could be one that you're looking for. So if you're going to do regular off-pavement driving to the cottage, things like that. But for the most part, the majority of the lineup should have you covered there. Inside of the Telluride, you're going to find LED tail lamps regardless of the trim level that you're looking at. Technology-wise, you're going to find the reverse park sensing system along with a backup camera and the rear wiper. And some versions of the Telluride also have a camera mounted along the very top. And the reason why is because there's the option for the fully digital rear view mirror. Not standard across the board, but it does look pretty cool at the same time. Towing inside of the Telluride is also possible with your max towing capacity in the vehicle ringing in at 5,500 pounds. And that's going to depend on which trim level of the vehicle that you're in. But that's a pretty solid amount for that 3.8 liter V6. And then getting into the trunk of the ride can be done so many different ways. There's a button to the left-hand side of the steering wheel. You can use the key fob to do it. Just underneath the U in Telluride, next to the backup camera, there's a button underneath there you can push. And then you're also going to find a smart liftgate, which is full hands-free access. So as long as the feature is enabled and you've got the key fob on you, you're just going to walk up towards the back end of the ride. And there's this sweet spot that you've got to hit. Love that feature. Some versions of the Telluride also have a walk-away close. So you'll hear a little chime in a second there. Little beeping. And what that is if I walk away, it's going to close. So you can turn the feature off there using the button along the right-hand side if your Telluride has it. Off to the left, there's a speaker, a 12-volt power point, and then there's also a power release for the second row seats. But before we get there, there's a little storage tray back here. And underneath, there's going to be a release for the spare tire that's located just underneath the vehicle. So if you're mechanically inclined, you want to try to change it out yourself, you could also do that. The jack stand is off to the left-hand side there. But one of the nice things about being a Kia owner is that you have access to roadside assistance. So if you ever lock yourself out of your vehicle, you need tire changing, fuel delivery, things like that, it is available. But if there is an issue with the tire, I said you could try to change it yourself, but it's just nice to know you've got that added peace of mind as a Kia owner. And then folding down the seats in the ride, third row is a manual, second row is done a few different ways. So for the third row, you're just gonna pull the tabs in the back and drop left and right. And then for the second row seats, you can fold it down from the trunk. You can also fold it down from the second row. So there are a few different buttons that you don't want to press, but there's a little lever along the side. You just want to pull that in order to fold them down from the second row. From the trunk, you've got the buttons here, so you could fold the left or the right down independently. So it's just a button push in order to lower that seat down. And there is an amazing amount of space inside of this vehicle. And the cargo measurements that you're looking at, the ones specifically behind the first row, they go from right where the trunk door would close to just in behind the little console armrest between the first row seats. So if that driver's seat, passenger seat were forwards or backwards, you gain or lose a little bit of extra space. But you can get a lot of junk inside of this trunk. Now, there is one thing about the second row seats is that when they are down, they're actually locked down into place. So in order to pop them up, what you have to do, that same lever that you'd pull in order to fold them down, you're just going to pull that and then lift. And up she goes. And then for the third row seats, you're just going to pull on the straps and then lift up that headrest. Same on the driver and on the passenger side. You can close the liftgate from the fob from the inside or button push to close from there. Filling up fuel inside of the Telluride is done just along the driver's side. And one nice thing, when the vehicle's locked, the fuel door is also locked. So just unlock in order to get inside, and it is a capped system. If you're worried about fuel theft, you could always look at an aftermarket cover that's got a key, but having this locked cover is useful. Looking at the fuel quality inside of the ride, it doesn't matter front wheel, all-wheel drive, which side of the border you're on, minimum manufacturer's recommendation is just regular 87 octane. So regular fuel is all you need to use inside of this vehicle. You're going to get slightly better fuel economy front wheel drive compared to the all-wheel drive version. Not by much, but if you absolutely want better fuel economy, go for the front wheel drive version, but you're not going to be disappointed either way. And looking at the size of the Telluride, so I'm 6 feet tall. This is a big vehicle. You can fit up to 8 people inside, which is why it's so big. Then you do have the option for crossbars, so if you wanted to throw on a roof rack carrier, you've got that available as an option. The side view mirrors inside of the Telluride are going to be power folding with turn signals built in, along with a side-mounted camera. They also have the blind spot monitoring system inside of them. There is intelligent access here, so you can tap this in order to be able to lock the door and then slide your hand in order to unlock. But before we get inside there, this is the highest available trim. So you've got this nice wood grain that follows through, driver's seat memory with some side view mirror controls and window controls. There are 2 different speaker choices available across the lineup. So it's either going to be a 6-speaker system in the lower trims or this 10-speaker Harman Kardon in the higher trims of the ride. You've got some door storage there. Basic pedals, they only look like that because they still have some stickers on there. Multi-way adjustable seats there too, and the seating options that you've got here, well, the buttons I should say are going to depend on the trim. This one is a power adjustable cushion. So neat, so neat. Then, looking at spacing. Neat. All right, so spacing inside of this ride. So with the, let's go as far down. There we go. So the driver's seat as far down as it's going to go. I've got so much headspace. What's that, like 5? Yeah, like almost 5+ inches of headspace. I'm 6 feet tall. So if you're like 6'4", 6'5", you'll probably comfortably be able to sit inside of this ride. It's wild. And there are a few different types of seating material that are available. Cloth seats in the lower trims, a leatherette in some of the higher trims, and then Nappa leather seats when you get into the highest trim levels. And they're really, really comfortable. I love the cushion on the headrest. It's nice. All right, and start up here. Beautiful. If you want walkthroughs, so you want to know how to use all the different steering wheel buttons, go through the cluster, the head-up display, or the infotainment, you'll find walkthroughs down in the description of this video. There are so many things though. You've got adaptive cruise control inside of the ride. As I mentioned, a head-up display that can display factory navigation. So if you've got a route going, it would show up there. And then you'd also have some turn-by-turn directions that would show up inside of the cluster screen too. The infotainment system here is feature-packed. You've got Android Auto, Apple CarPlay support. There's factory navigation built in too. There are so many features inside of this ride. For media, you've got AM, FM, Sirius XM. On top of that, if we go to our media here, sounds of nature. So if you wanted more calming, relaxing sounds, that's available there too. The audio is so good inside of this ride. USB stick with MP3s, so many things. There are some climate control settings available here, including being able to customize climate for the rear, including locking those controls out. And then you've got all of your physical tactile buttons here too. So well, technically tri-zone climate control there. There's a heated steering wheel inside of the ride with all of your other climate control settings here. You're going to have at least heated seats in most trims with the option of moving into ventilated seats too. There's a hand shifter here, which I love. It feels great in the hand. You've got your park reverse neutral drive, and then you can move over in order to get into a manual mode. So if you wanted to manually adjust gears out yourself, you'd have that flexibility. It works under the same principle as paddle shifters too. So if you've never used paddle shifters or a hand shifter before, check down in the description of this video for how that's done. But straightforward. Let's get this out of the way for a second because you've also got this. So you've got a 12-volt power point, USB there, so you'd hook that up in order to use USB sticks with MP3s on them or wired Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. The USB-C is strictly for charging. You're going to find a wireless charge pad down low. You've also got just some basic storage there, cup holders, a series of selectable drive and terrain modes. So you've got Comfort, Eco, Sport. Smart mode figures out which mode to be in there. You can push across in order to get to snow, mud, or sand. So they're going to do things like play with traction control, stability control, things like that. Versus these modes, Eco is going to be the best economy in the ride, versus Sport is going to give you the best possible performance. And one really neat thing is that as you adjust between the different modes, look at this. It also is going to change up the look of the cluster screen. I mean, that looks nice. I love that Sport mode though. You can permanently lock it out to that Sport mode, which is done in the infotainment system. And then, look at that. Blind spot view monitor too. So it utilizes the side-mounted cameras in order to show you what's going on inside of your blind spot. Not standard across the board, but is a really neat feature. Let's see, you've got basics, auto start stop, auto hold, parking brake with your full 360 camera. So you've got your basic view or swing out view. That looks so cool. Oh, I love that. And then the armrest here, non-lockable. Down low, you've got another USB power point, and that one's strictly for charging down low. There's actually a good amount of space there. Look at that. Like half wrist deep. That's impressive. Got that wood grain, so that follows through the driver's door there, all the way throughout the dash and through. If you're not crazy about the grain, you could always do an aftermarket 3M wrap, but I think it looks pretty good with this color choice. It's a fully lockable glove box. Good amount of space in that box. But overhead from there, auto dimming rear view mirror at least, and then utilizes that top mounted camera to get a fully digital rear view with a HomeLink system, so garage door opener built in. You're gonna find sunglasses holder overhead, basic light controls there too, SOS and tow mode, and then you've got vanity mirror with lights built in over top, little ticket receipt holder, and suede. Oh, look at that. It's not in all trim levels, but stroke the furry wall. That's pretty nice. Then there's also gonna be a little dual panel sunroof. So it's not a full panoramic, but You can open these up separately if you want to. So this glass can open up. Not a lot, just a little bit. But I mean, that just opens things up so nicely. Nice. All right, let's hop back to that second row. All right. So, oh, actually, did I adjust that seat? I don't think I did. Oh, got to do this. Hold on. I want to make sure that I've got the seat set up the way I would normally drive. Okay, there we go. That's good. Okay, so in the second row, you're going to find the option for sunshades in the back. And then, I just wanted that to stop beeping. You've got that same wood highlight along the door. You've got the option for heated and ventilated second row seats. So good. Oh, obviously only for the outboard. There are a few different options available. So you've got 7 or 8 seats inside of the ride. I love the dual captain chair setup. It looks nicer, and then it's an easier pass through. If you need that bench configuration, you're going to have to go for one of the lower trim levels of the ride. But with the driver's seat set up for myself being 6 feet tall, in the second row, I've got some foot space, a good amount of knee space, and overhead, sitting fully upright, 3.5 inches of head space, which is solid. Now, two cool things, I guess. The first one, there's a little bar in between your legs there. So you can use that to slide the seat forward or backwards. So let's see, seat's up a little bit. Let's go about right there. Okay, that would be about right. And then you can take this little guy, so the one that you would use to fold the seat down in order to, recline the seat. Oh, it's comfortable. I love the second row seats in this ride. Incredibly comfortable with armrests built in. No complaints. Ooh, and back up. All right. Other things to point out. From there, you've got a handle, hook, and then some basic HVAC controls. Overhead here, you can control everything. So you can adjust there. Do you want it going to your face feet? In auto mode, you can control the climate from the back here too. Showed you earlier, you can lock that out from that other row. Got some basic light controls there too. Same thing along this side, so a little handle and a hook. Down low, you're going to find map pockets behind both the driver and the passenger side, along with USB power points built right into the seat, both sides. One thing I love about Kias, from there you've got some cup holders in the back, some power points down low, so you're going to find a 12 volt, along with a traditional wall plug that's rated for up to 150 watt. Then, getting into that third row, so you could just pass through into the third if you want, but along the outside here, you've got a few buttons. So you can either take this one or down low and just button push to slide and hop inside. Okay, hold on. I want to get this seat as far back as it's going to go. And even with it as far back, it's tight, but I mean, I've got a bit of foot space, not much knee space, and up overhead. Yeah, not so much. So a third row of the Telluride, I can fit if I were to slouch forward, but outside of that, my head is hitting the very top. So not overly comfortable. Middle seat here. Ooh. It's tight. I'm gonna have to stretch my feet out in order to sit in the middle seat, but yeah, not so much. But I mean, obviously if you've got kids, it's okay. The middle seat and the third row, well, third row seats in general are the most comfortable. The middle seat in the third row, not so much, but it's got cushion. Kids will be fine. And then there are anchor points and tether points all over the place if you need them. You're gonna find USB power, a speaker, some cup holders. This side, same thing. Cup holders, speaker, and then you've got these little holes here. That's for a little cargo shield. So that's available aftermarket. And you'll find a speaker back there too. Then getting out of the seat here, if for whatever reason the power button dies, if you've got the bench configuration or even with this one and you can't sneak out because the button's not working, down low, you got this little red strap. You can take that and pull in order to be able to get out. All right, now this vehicle doesn't have too much mileage on it, so I'm not gonna push it too much, but it's got some power. It does have some power, I will give it that. And technology. I love the blind spot monitoring system. Actually utilizing those side-mounted cameras to see what's going on in your blind spot. I mean, I think that's fantastic. There is one thing that I would like to see, and that's utilizing those side-mounted cameras in order for the vehicle to record. Now, I don't think any manufacturer outside of Tesla does that yet, but we're cruising. The vehicle recognizes the lane markings here. So with the lane follow assist system enabled, it's not full hands-free driving, as eventually you will get a message inside of the cluster screen telling you to put your hands back on the steering wheel, but it gets incredibly close inside of this ride, and you're just cruising. That's good. I love it. So I gotta say, so we're not going quite highway speeds, but it is fairly quiet inside of this ride. Yeah, capable driving. Hold on, here we go. And up to speed. Capable drive, nice and quiet all around. I like that it's not a turbocharged engine. And the reason why, like, don't get me wrong, I love my turbos, but with it being non-turbocharged, that means that the vehicle is going to, it does have one less thing to be able to brake. And I mean, looking here, this is great. I love the smart cruise control system. I use it literally all the time. So easy to use. And like I said, so these systems, it's not meant to replace you actively driving, because you still have to be paying attention, but you've got some incredible systems that are available here inside of the ride. Oh, and we're coming down to a stop. The car is doing everything, and down. I love it. And this is the all-wheel drive model. So you've got it either available front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. The all-wheel drive model, you don't get quite as good fuel economy, but it's still really good at the same time. And where I go all-wheel drive is if your plan is to go off pavement, or if you live in northern states or in Canada like me. Hold on, we're just gonna do a full 180 around here. Oh, beautiful. Hugs the road nicely. Oh yeah. All right, now back out. And that was a look at the Kia Telluride SX Limited in Canada, or the SX Prestige Pro down in the US. But you can find all of the build details for this Telluride with links off to Durham Kia and all the tech walkthrough videos and links to Kia Canada and US down in the description. But if you found this video useful, give it a thumbs up, share it with someone if you think they might find it helpful. And until I see you next time, take care. And that was a look at the Kia. And that was a look at the Kia Telluride SX Limited in Canada, or the SX Prestige.